only 3 types of polynomials we talk about, but I'll let you know what that looks like here in a bit. But guys, adding and subtracting polynomials, the question really says, how do you add and subtract polynomials? Well, I don't know, because I don't even know what a polynomial is, so we're going to figure that out. How about some volunteers to read my goals today? What's the first goal? Who wants that one? Go ahead, Andrew.
Find the degrees of monomials.
Okay, so that word is pronounced monomials. Okay? So it's kind of a tough one doing. So find the degrees of monomials. All right? I bet they're pretty hot. Okay, not funny. Classify polynomials. Degrees, get it? All right, too early on one. I get it. We're going to add, subtract some polynomials. Sam, what's the last one here?
Solve real life problems.
All right, very good. What the heck is a monomial? Okay, a monomial is going to be any number, a variable, or a, what's this word mean mathematically? Product meaning what operation?
The answer.
It's the answer for what operation? Multiplication, right? A number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables with whole number exponents. And here's an example. -5 is a monomial because it's just -5. You're not adding or subtracting anything to it. Okay? 0.5y squared is a monomial because you're not adding or subtracting anything to it. It's just a term by itself. 4x squared y is a monomial. Anybody want to guess why it's a monomial? Not adding or subtracting anything to it. So maybe a note we should probably make up here. Come on. There we go. Maybe a note we should make up here, kids, is this. Monomial is a single term. And we notice there's no adding or subtracting here, kids. No adding. Or subtracting with it. There's no adding or subtracting. Now, guys, I get that this sign is negative, but is it being subtracted from anything here, or is it just out here by itself? -5 is out there all by itself. Okay, it's just one term. All right. Now, the degree of a monomial, kids. All right, the degree of a monomial. When we talked about that, the degree of a monomial is the, what's the word here I'm pointing at? Sum meaning what operation?
Addition.
It's the sum of the exponents of the variable in the monomial. So take a look. Variable is a what, kids? What do we say a variable is mathematically? A what?
A letter.
It's a letter used to represent a number. You bet. So the variable is going to be some kind of a letter. Okay? So guys, the degree of 5 is what, kids?
0.
Okay, the degree of 5 is 0 because are there any variables in 5? It's just 5. Okay, there's no variables. So they say the degree is what? 0. Okay, the degree of x squared. Well, what's the exponent with x squared, kids? Is 2. All right? Ooh, this is a tricky one. The degree of 2xy to the third is, okay, look at this. How many variables are actually in this? 3 of them. What's the degree of y? The y is to what power here in your notes? 3. But this x right here is also a variable, and there's no exponent out there by x, so we assume that the exponent is what? 1. So the degree of 2x to the first, y to the third is 1 plus 3. We would say that this is what degree here, kids? 4th degree. So what if I threw a term up here like this? What if I threw a monomial in here like this? Oh, let's go 6p to the second, j to the 5th. What would the degree of that monomial be? 7. Okay, how many p's are in here, kids? 2. How many j's are in here? 5. Therefore, the degree is degree is 7 there. Okay. Now, monomial. What's the difference between a monomial, a term all by itself, and a polynomial? Well, guys, poly is a prefix meaning what? Many. And a polygon, many-sided figure. All right. Polynomial is a monomial or what? Okay. A polynomial is like any kind of expression, okay? So we would say that this is a polynomial because we have a term 5x plus what? 2. How many terms are really here? 2. 5x is a term and the 2 is a term. X squared plus 5x plus 2. How many terms are in that?
3.
1, 2, 3. Again, these are not monomials because there's some adding or what going on now. Okay? So a polynomial is just the sum of monomials or a single monomial. Okay? Alright. Bi means what, kids?
2.
2. So what do you think a binomial is?
2.
A polynomial with what?
2 terms.
2 terms. This is a binomial because there are 2 terms. 2x minus 1 is a binomial because there are how many terms?
2.
There's a 2x and a minus 1. Okay? Let's see, try means what? Volleyball people better get this right.
3.
3 teams, right? Yeah, try. So a trinomial is going to be any polynomial with what? 3 terms. So, how many terms are here? X squared, positive 5x, positive 2. There you go. Right? Monomial, how many terms? Mono meaning what? 1. Binomial, how many terms? 2, because bi means what? 2. Trinomial, how many terms?
3.
3. And we don't really have names beyond that. If it's beyond 3, we just call it a polynomial. Okay? Alright, I think we've got this. Let's talk degrees of polynomials then. The degree of a polynomial is a little different. It's the, underline this word, greatest degree of the polynomial. Okay, so in this case right here, I have 6x squared plus what? Well, x, right? Okay, what's the degree of this term? What's the exponent up here? 2. What's the degree of this part? 1. Okay, so this part's going to win. The degree is what? 2. Okay, in this example, x to the 5th plus x squared minus 8. Well, there's 3 terms, right? Which term has the highest power? X to the 5th. Therefore, the degree of that polynomial is degree 5. Okay? We need to understand standard form. Standard form is a polynomial in what?
One variable.
Written with the exponents of the terms decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. Sometimes they will say this, oh, stop it. Naughty. Decreasing from what? Left to right. So as an example, this is in standard form because 2x to the 3rd. What happens to my powers as I move from left to right? They decrease. So the highest power should be out front, and anything that's degree 0 out here should be out on the end. Any constant should be on the end. So these are examples of standard form right here. Okay? Negative x to the 3rd plus 15x plus 3. All right? And we'll look at some examples about putting them in standard form. Standard form means start with your highest power, work your way down to the lowest power, or degree, if you will. Okay? Leading coefficient. Somebody want to read that definition for me this morning?
Coefficient of the first term of a polynomial written in standard form.
Okay, so guys, first of all, what degree is this right here? Degree 2, because 2 is the highest power, right? So the leading coefficient is going to be the coefficient out in front of the highest power. So if x squared is my highest power right here, what coefficient's out in front of x squared, kids?
3.
So we call that the leading coefficient. What's the leading coefficient here?
2.
2. What would the leading coefficient be in this one?
Negative 1.
Negative 1 up there. So be careful on those. Okay? And then, kind of like Main Street, last term there, says what? Closed. It says when an operation performed on any 2, and it goes on to the next page, numbers in the set results in a number that is in the set. So the example they say is addition. The set of integers is closed under what? Addition, subtraction, and what else? But not what? Okay, let me kind of show you up here what they mean. If I do addition right here, is there Is there a situation, like think of all integers, positive, negative, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 0, and then all the way down. If I start adding numbers, if I add two integers, will I always get another integer out? Like 3 plus 7, does that give me an answer? It does, doesn't it? Okay. How about subtraction? If I subtract two numbers, does that always give me an answer? It does. Okay. How about multiplication? If I multiply two numbers, does that always give me an answer? Okay, let me ask this question. If I do division, does division always give you an answer? What's the exception in division?
0.
When you divide by 0, you say it's undefined, right? And is undefined part of an integer? It's not. Okay? So when you say like 6 divided by 0, you took two numbers in the number set and divided, got out something that's not even part of a number set, then we would say that that is not closed. Right? You get funny answers out. Right? How many of you guys have heard about imaginary numbers before? Heard of it? Oh, it's coming. I love it. All right. Well, let's get going with what we need to do. I think you guys kind of have this from the definition. So the first thing that we need to do here, kids, is find the degree of each. What is this term up here, kids? Monomial. What's the degree of 5x squared, kids? This is degree 2. You look at the exponents. Very good. Careful on the next one. Show of hands, please. What's the degree here? Go ahead, Allie.
4.
4? I agree, 4. Okay. How many variables are in this, really, kids? How many x's are in here? 1. How many y's are in here? 3. So the degree is really what? Yeah, this is kind of like x to the first, y to the third, so the degree would be 4. How about C? What's the degree on C? 6. You guys got this. The 3 and the 3 added up, right? Degree 6. Anybody want to take a shot at the last one? It's -3. What do you think, Logan?
0.
There's 0. There's 0 variables up there, so the degree is 0. Right? The degree is 0 there. Okay, very good. All right. Example 2 says write something in standard form. How do you write these polynomials in standard form? Remember, we wanted the exponents going in ascending order or descending order? Descending. So what's the highest degree up here in -8 plus 9x squared minus 2x? So you would write this as 9x squared. What's next then? Minus 2x. That's the next term, right, guys? And then? Yep. On your own, you try this one. Oh, there's more questions. Identify the degree. What is the degree, kids? The degree is actually just of one term. So what's the highest degree in one term? So the degree is 2. They also want the leading coefficient here, kids.
9.
The leading coefficient would be 9. You guys try this one. Okay, put that in standard form, identify the degree, and then leading coefficient. And when I get back here quickly, you're all going to have this right. I want you to put that in standard form. So make sure your exponents start high and work their way down. Identify the degree of that polynomial, and then tell me what the leading coefficient out front's going to be. Who's got a polynomial in standard form for me? Something I haven't heard from yet today. Want to try, Gracie?
ax to the third
Okay.
plus 4x to the second
Okay.
minus 2x
Yep.
minus 17.
Okay, just give me a show of hands. How many agree on her form right there first? Okay. Now keep in mind, if I move like the 2x with this right here, if I move the 2x, what sign do I have to move with it? The negative sign there with it. Okay, how many had to? We good on that? Okay, what degree, kids?
3.
And what's your leading coefficient then? Leading coefficient is 8. Very good. So if I say, hey, can you put a polynomial in standard form, identify its degree and leading coefficient, are we feeling pretty okay about that? So far, pretty easy, right? Okay, well, let's get to the heart of the matter here. Let's start talking about classifying polynomials and then do what we really need to do in example number 4. Okay? Example 3 talks about classifying polynomials. It says write each polynomial in what, kids? Standard form. Identify the degree and classify the polynomial this time by what, kids? Okay, this is a little different. So help me put this in standard form first, kids.
7 equals 7 plus
7a squared plus 3. The degree is what then? Degree is 2. And then it says classify the polynomial by the number of terms. Well, guys, how many terms are in there? 7a squared is 1. 3 is another. So 2 terms. Would this be a monomial, binomial, or trinomial?
5.
Yeah, there's 2 terms here. So since there's 2 terms, the 2 terms being 7a squared and the 3, this makes this a binomial. Okay, that makes that a binomial. All right. So you guys try the next 2. Put it in standard form, identify degree, and then classify by the number of terms. It's my cup of coffee make you guys.
Did the coffee make it?
Oh yeah, stunts my growth. Can you tell?
No.
Oh dang.
How tall are you?
6'4". 6'4". 6'4", not an inch more.
No, Gracie, you look
That'd be so short.
What?
He's 4'4".
She looks like a little kid.
She's like,
A legal midget is 4'11".
that is tall for a midget.
Look. Look, so. I'm just stretching.
I'm pretty sure that the measurement for the common midget is 27 donuts tall.
Well, we'll find out on neighboring donuts.
There you go. What?
A legal midget.
Hey, who wants to standard form me?
5'5".
I'm a legal midget.
Daisy, you got it?
No.
Okay, who do you want to have it?
Me. Right?
Logan? Roll.
2b.
Oops, hang on.
Okay, right.
2b to the.
4
Yep,
minus b to the second
yep.
plus 6b.
Okay. How about the degree of this?
4.
And then what type?
Trinomial.
Why trinomial?
Because there's 3 terms.
How many agree? Show of hands quickly. How many agree? Yep, I agree. Standard form. 4 to 2 to 1 for exponents. The degree is 4. That's the highest power. There's 1, 2, 3 terms here. Okay? Guys, 12c to the 5th, that last one. How do you write that in standard form?
So I'll see a little bit.
Already is, isn't it? That's the only thing that's there. So if that's the only thing that's there, what's the degree of this?
5.
Degree 5, and what type is this?
9.
Yeah, the degree here is 5. It's already in standard form. Is it okay if I write this already in, what's this stand for? Standard form. The degree is 5. And the leading the number of terms is 1. So this type is a monomial. Okay, let's move. How many are on the polynomial train with me right now? It's kind of like a train, see? Here's the engine, here's the car, here's, okay, never mind. How many of you guys think I'm crazy? Logan does? Alright, that's good. You're not wrong. Okay, hey, can I put a star by example 4 and 5?
Yeah.
Example 4 and 5, these are going to be the important ones right here, okay? Especially example 5. This is really what you need to take out of this section right here. This is what's most important, okay? Guys, simply adding, all right? Adding polynomials, it's going to say find the sum. Now, guys, when we're doing this, I think you probably talked about this a little bit, but what you're looking to do is to, anybody know what the next two words are going to be after combine? Like terms. When I say combine like terms, you're combining any terms that have the same variable, same degree with them. Same variables of the same degree, okay? So for instance, kids, I like to color code this. This helps me a lot when I do this. And I don't know how else to do this for you. But guys, I always look at this right here and I ask myself, I'm going to take 3x squared plus 4x plus 3 plus 2x plus 5x squared plus 1. And when I do this, I ask myself, first of all, what's the highest degree in each part that we're going to add together? What's the highest degree over here? All right, does this highest degree of x squared match 1 over here? Okay, so the 3x squared would match my 5x squared. Both are positive, so when I'm adding together, 3x squared plus really a 5x squared would combine to what, kids?
8x.
Okay. Any other like terms that I could put together?
4x and 2x.
Yep, they both have the same variable with the same exponents. So what would positive, this is really plus 4x plus 2x, right? So this would become what next?
6x.
Any constant terms out here, or degree 0 terms?
Plus 3.
Positive 3 would combine with what, kids?
1.
What's that going to add up to?
4.
So I've got a sum right here. The sum of those two trinomials because there's 3 terms right here. The sum of those trinomials turns out to be 8x squared plus 6x plus 4. Now guys, I always say start with the highest power because if you start with the highest power, what form do you really end your answer in? Standard form. Okay, let me ask a question about this standard form. Then. What degree is my final answer? 2. What's the leading coefficient? 8. What type of polynomial is this? Okay, you guys go ahead and do part B on your own. And then when you've got an answer, check and see if you agree. And guys, really when you're adding, you can just basically drop the parentheses right there. Give me a show of hands and I'll come around and check. Oh, I just wasn't going to do the problem here. Positive 1a plus negative 1a make what we really do to each other. Cancel, right? Okay. So it's just that part. Allie, we checked them over there. I think we're in pretty good shape here, kids. What's the highest term in these? What's the highest degree term? Yeah, so you have a negative 5a squared plus a 2a squared. What's that going to combine to, kids? Okay, be careful on this next one right here. This positive a plus, really, what kind of a here, kids?
Negative.
Okay, 1a minus, really, or 1a plus negative 1a is, what are they really going to do to each other? They're just kind of gone. And then, how about this plus 2 plus, what kind of 9? Negative 9. What's 2 minus 9, really? Yeah, okay. So guys, in this case, we had addition of 2 trinomials, but in the end, our answer was what? family or what type of polynomial? Binomial, because is it possible that things can cancel out when we're simplifying? Okay. Are we cool with that? All right. Here's the tricky one, I think, kids. Okay. When you subtract right here, I always think it's important to, I don't know, rewrite it. Maybe you can think of it mentally, but I like to rewrite it. Okay? Because this minus sign here in the middle really doesn't apply to just the first term. This minus sign to this trinomial over here on the right applies to everything over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out here with the left side is 3y squared plus 8. Okay? But then it says subtract this trinomial. It says subtract a what, kids? 6y squared, right? Basically, this negative out in front of this trinomial is going to do what to all of my signs in here?
Switch them.
So when I subtract a positive 4y, that's like a minus 4y. Whoops. And when I subtract a negative 2, that's really going to become what, kids? Plus 2. Okay, so I think it's important to rewrite it like that by saying, okay, take this right here and change the signs. Kids, the 6y squared in here was originally positive, wasn't it? What is it now after I rewrite it? Okay. The 4y was positive in here. It's now negative. The only time you have to do that is when we're subtracting polynomials. So let's combine, kids. Does 3y squared combine with anything? Okay, so what is 3y squared and negative 6y squared going to combine to?
Negative.
Negative 3y squared. Okay?
Negative 4.
So minus 4y would be the next term, right? In standard form, if we're thinking standard form. Okay, what else could I combine? A positive 8 with a positive 2 would really be a positive 10 then. Okay? All right, I want to make sure you guys are kind of okay with that. So you check it out on that next one. Again, I might rewrite it. Do I need to change anything in this first trinomial? Why am I changing everything in the second trinomial? Because we are doing what operation? Subtraction means kind of do the opposite, add the opposite. So plus 4t squared. I would rewrite it like that and then try to combine like terms at that point. What have you guys got? Anybody want to volunteer for me? Anybody want to volunteer? Sam, what do you think, buddy?
8t to the second.
Say that again.
8t to the second. Wait, no, I'm wrong. 16t to the
Don't worry, I
second.
got it.
16t to the second.
All right. Is Sam back on track, kids?
Oh, yeah. Plus 2t.
Okay, hold on a second. Where'd your 16t squared come from, bud?
You were so 12t to the second minus 2 minuses, which makes a plus.
There you go.
4t.
Okay, so those two that I just crossed out is what you combine?
Yeah.
Okay, kiddo, carry on.
And then combine 5t and 3t, so you minus his, which would be 2t.
Okay, so is it plus 2t or minus 2t?
it's plus 2t.
Okay, why is it plus 2t and why not minus 2t?
Because it's not a negative number.
Okay. But there's more 5 outnumbers 3, right? So there's more positives than there are negatives here. Okay, carry on.
And then negative 7 minus minus again plus 1. So it'd be plus 1, negative 7 plus 1, which is negative 6.
There you go. I'm going to add 16t squared plus 2t minus 6. Okay, I really think it's a good idea that when you're doing, did I have to rewrite anything up top here, guys, when we did addition? No, but when we have subtraction, I think it's important to keep the first polynomial the same and then change all your signs in here. Okay, so like the negative 4t squared became what down here, kids, when we were subtracting? Plus 4t squared, okay, so very good. Hey, what type of polynomial is this? Trinomial. What's the degree? 2. What's the leading coefficient? 16. Okay. All right, let's see if we can't do this right here. Guys, I'm going to just kind of talk about part A with you. I'll talk about part B with you probably tomorrow on this here a little bit more. But guys, modeling with mathematics right here. It says you're at the top of the building. It says you drop a ball from a height of what, kids? 98 feet. And that 98 feet is represented clear at the top of this building. Okay? At the same time, your friend throws a ball what direction? Upward. The polynomial represents the height in feet of the two balls that are being thrown after what? T seconds. Okay, so you've got this and you've got this, all right? You're dropping something up here, your friend is throwing something up, okay? All right, it says before the balls reach the same height, write a polynomial that represents the distance between your ball and your friend's ball. So you have to write an expression that represents the distance between you and your friend. Not a problem. If I was running a race against, who am I running a race against in here today?
Me.
All right, if I was running against Logan Rozier in a 400, oh, you people with math, I'm deaf in my ears, so it doesn't matter. Gage, I'm running against you, okay? 200? I want to do a 400. I ran 400 when I was in high school.
How would you make a compromise and do a 300?
Did you? Yeah. Okay, I'll run against you. Let's say that we start the race, and when Gage is at, say, 120 yards into the race, or 120 meters into the race, I'm only 115. What's the distance between these two?
5 meters.
So what did you do with the 120 and the 115 to get that? So if I want to know the difference between these two, how far apart these are, we're looking for a difference. So in part A, you are looking for a difference. All right. So here's the deal. It says the polynomial, it says at the same time, it says part A, it says find the distance between your ball and what else? Okay. Well, where are we at? So we want to take negative 16. This would be the distance between me and him, the way they order. So we would do negative 16t squared plus 98. Okay, that is where we are. And then, since your friend is listed second, you would subtract his expression from that. What's his expression, kids? Negative 16t squared plus 46t plus 6, right? You guys agree with that? So guys, isn't this just subtraction between two polynomials? Isn't it just like we just got done doing? Okay, so let's find the distance between these after t seconds. So no problem. I'm going to rewrite this as negative 16t squared plus 98. What am I going to do with all the signs now since we are subtracting? Okay, so this will turn to a what? Plus 16t squared minus what? Okay, let's combine. What's a negative 16t squared and a positive 16t squared going to do to each other?
Cancel.
They're opposites, they're gone. Okay? So what's my next term?
Minus 46 feet.
Okay? What's 98 minus 6?
92.
Here's the deal in part B. It says interpret the coefficients of the polynomial in part A. Okay? What's happening to the ball up top of the building, guys? What's happening to the ball here? Okay, which ball is going to go faster, you think?
Being dropped.
The one that's going to get dropped. The question is, what's the negative 46 represent? That negative 46 times t represents this. It means for every second, okay, this distance is going to do what? When he throws the ball up and I drop the ball, what's going to happen to the distance? Okay, it's going to shrink. It's going to get closer and closer and closer to each other. It means that after every second, that distance is going to change by, what's the bleeding coefficient out there? It means after every second, that distance is going to go down. That distance which they're apart to begin with is going to go down by 46 feet. Okay? Anybody want to guess how far apart you are right at the beginning? 92 feet. Okay, so that negative 46 represents, that negative 46 represents, when I interpret this, negative 46 represents that is the change in, oh, how is this measured? 98 is measured in feet, right? That's the change in feet each second. It means every second that goes by, the distance between the two balls is going to shrink by how many feet? 46 feet. Okay? That's what's going on. All right, so here's what I've done today. I'm going to hand your tests back here in a second. I will tell you this. On your test, I allow you to make your corrections if you want to get half credit back. That won't figure into our 85 then, okay? But if you want to try and earn some more points on the test, do some corrections on a separate sheet of paper. You've got a week to do that. I give you half credit back. So let's just say you missed 4 points. You corrected all 4 of those points, how many do you get back? 2 points, which is almost like an extra 7% on the test. Okay? So if you want to make corrections, do that. You've got a week to do so. I sent out a new online page. That's really the only thing I need you to start looking at right now, okay?
We learned in this problem, like, assumes that once he throws the ball up, it
It's
just
not slowing down. Yes, I
It
agree.
just never stops, it just
Right.
continues to run.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine
And there's
that,
some
they're like
assumptions going
this,
on there.
and it just
Kind of
keeps
like how
going.
the hell.
And the
I
ball
like how
goes
it's
up
a
and
real
it
life
continues.
problem.
We're in a vacuum, okay?
Also, I like that it says not drawn to scale below the 98-foot building.
And he is 2 stories tall.
Hang on a second.
This is not what